my name is Roxi D'Lite. I am Miss Exotic World 2010 at the Burlesque Hall of Fame Museum, and I'm going to read part of my favorite book by Katherine Dunn called Geek Love. My father's name was Aloysius Binwinski. He was raised in a traveling carnival owned by his father and called Binwinski's Fabulon. Papa was 24 years old when Grandpa died and the carnival fell into his hands. Al carefully bolted the silver urn containing his father's ashes to the hood of the generator truck that powered the Midway. The old man had wandered with the show for so long that his dust would have been miserable left behind in some stationary vault. Times were hard, and though no fault of Al's, business began to decline. 5 years after Grandpa died, the once flourishing carnival was fading. The show was burdened with an aging lion and repeatedly broke his expensive dentures by gnawing on the bars of his cage. Demands for cost of living increases from the fat lady whose food supply was written into her contract, and the midnight defecation of an entire family of animal exotics taking their donkey, goat, and Great Dane with them. The fat lady eventually jumped ship to become a model for a magazine called Chubby Chaser. My father was left with a cut-rate, diesel-fueled fire eater and the prospect of a very long stretch in a trailer park outside of Fort Lauderdale. Al was a standard-issue Yankee, set on self-determination and independence, but in that crisis, his court of genius revealed itself. He decided to breed his own freak show. My mother, Lillian Hinchcliffe, was a water-cool aristocrat from the fastidious side of Boston's Beacon Hill, who had abandoned her heritage and joined the carnival to become an aerialist. 19 is late to learn to fly, and Lillian fell, smashing her elegant nose and collarbones. She lost her nerve, but not her lust, for sawdust and honky-tonk lights. It was this passion that made her an eager partner in Al's scheme. She was willing to chip in on any effort to renew the public interest in the show. Then, too, the idea of an inherited security was ingrained from her childhood. As she often said, "What greater gift could you offer your children than an inherent ability to earn a living just by being themselves?" This resourceful pair began experimenting with illicit prescription drugs, insecticides, and eventually radioisotopes. My mother developed a complex dependency on various drugs during this process, but she didn't mind. Relying on Papa to keep her supplied, Lily seemed to view her addiction as a minor byproduct of their creative collaboration. Their firstborn was Arturo, usually known as Aquaboy. His hands and his feet were in the form of flippers that sprouted directly from his torso, without intervening arms or legs. He was taught to swim in infancy and was displayed nude in a big glass, clear-sided tank aquarium. His favorite trick at the ages of 3 and 4 was to put his face close to the glass, bulging out his eyes at the audience, opening and closing his mouth like a river bass, and then to turn his back and paddle off, revealing a turd trailing from his muscular little buttocks. Al and Lil laughed about it later, but at the time it caused a great commotion, as well as the nuisance of sterilizing the tank more often than usual. As years passed, Artie donned trunks and became more sophisticated, but it's been said, with some truth, that his attitude never really changed. My sisters Electra and Iffy were born when Arturo was 2 years old and starting to haul in crowds. The girls were Siamese twins with perfect upper bodies joined at the waist, sharing one set of hips and legs. They usually sat and walked and slept with their long arms wrapped around each other. They were, however, able to face directly forward by allowing one shoulder of one to overlap the other. They were always beautiful, slim, and huge-eyed. They studied the piano and began performing piano duets at an early age. Their compositions of 4 hands were thought by some to have revolutionized the 12-tone scale. I was born 3 years after my sisters. My father spared no expense in these experiments, and arsenic during her ovulation and throughout her pregnancy with me. It was a disappointment when I emerged with such commonplace deformities. My albinism is the regular pink-eyed variety, and my hump, though pronounced, is not remarkable in size or shape as humps go. My situation was far too humdrum to be marketable on the same scale as my brothers and sisters. Still, my parents noted I had a strong voice and decided I might be an appropriate shill and taker for the business. A bald albino hunchback seemed the right enticement to ward the esoteric talents of the rest of the family. The dwarfism, which was very apparent by my 3rd birthday, came as a pleasant surprise to the patient pair and increased my value. From the beginning, I slept in the built-in cupboard beneath the sink in the family living van, and had a collection of exotic sunglasses to shield my sensitive eyes. Despite the expensive radium treatments incorporated in his design, my brother, Fortunato, had a close call in the beginning, born apparently normal. That drab state so depressed my enterprising parents that they immediately prepared to abandon him on the doorstep of a closed service station as we passed through Green River, Wyoming, late one night. My father had actually parked the van for a quick getaway and had stepped down to help my mother deposit the baby in the cupboard box in some safe part of the pavement. At the precise moment, the 2-week-old baby stared vaguely at my mother and in a matter of seconds revealed himself as not a failure at all, but in fact, my parents' masterwork. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and check out workingclasspublishing.com, where you can find Dark Pinup by my dear friend and one of my all-time favorite photographers, Lars. And you can find me in there too, along with some mega babes. Thanks for watching.